What's up, everybody? I'm Johnny.
This is John.
We're Johnny Drinks, and you're watching the Growing Up Italian podcast.
No, I don't want that. I'm like that.
Growing Up Italian.
Growing Up Italian. Growing Up Italian podcast.
Growing Up Italian.
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 Growing Up Italian podcast.
Growing Up Italian.
Growing Up Italian.
Growing Up Italian podcast.
Growing Up Italian.
Woo!
So is this someone's? This is your house?
Everybody says that.
Yeah, who lives here?
Who's here?
The Mummy. No. So basically, long story short, this was a studio apartment.
Yeah.
We built this wall. Oh, we're rolling right now? Oh,
We're
shit, I
live.
didn't know.
We're live.
Oh, is that bad?
Welcome back,
Okay.
everybody,
All
to Growing Up Italian
basically,
podcast.
we started with this room, and then we put a hole right here, and we extended to the other side. But these were two apartments that we converted, and yeah, we made it a full studio. Nobody
that.
sleeps here.
Yeah.
Maybe at night somebody might crash on the couch.
Right.
Very rarely, like maybe Mario Bosco sleep in a closet once in a while. But yeah, we have the music studio room, and we have this room, and then like that little hangout room, and then we have an office. So like we do a lot in this
Wait,
space.
your bedroom's over there?
No, there's no bedroom here.
Oh, you don't live here.
Originally, when this side became available, for a second, I was like, I'm gonna make this a bedroom.
Yeah.
So it could be like a boom boom room. Oh. But then I saw it and I was like, no, this is a music studio, you know? So
Who plays music?
well, we have an engineer that makes beats, and then like all our friends that are rappers like use it, you know?
Oh,
Like,
okay. They
He's
pay
also
rent.
just a big name
They
Italian.
pay rent?
yeah,
Oh, okay. Just curious.
sometimes, you know, like if the IRS is watching,
If they,
sometimes.
Yeah,
But
don't say that
they
too
pay
loud.
for a studio time.
Yeah.
We rent
All
studio
right.
time.
Yeah, we want to monetize that.
Yeah.
How did you
defer
fit-
the costs.
How did you fit the live stream day here? Which, by the way, I'm pissed we weren't able to come. Was it a good time?
Oh,
All good.
How many people did you have in this fucking room?
40? 40?
No way.
In and out 50 the whole day.
And just in and out of this room? That was
Like,
a good idea.
In and out of the whole
Yeah.
situation,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever do it again. But
Now
too
we're
much.
going to do it again. Are you
yeah,
kidding me?
Maybe in Little Italy next time.
Oh, a
yeah, it
different
was fun.
spot.
You would have met a lot of people, but I feel like a lot of our community has come together, and you know, you had them on your show, and I love it, bro.
Yeah.
You guys are crushing on that end.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, in my area, there's not many creators. You know what I mean? Like in the Jersey City area, there's a couple podcasters, but that's about it. Like nobody that really makes content.
Yeah.
And especially he's home, so I'm 40 minutes away from him.
You know, when we came on your show, I had like such a lasting impression. And when me and Rocco were talking about the next guest, I was like, we got to get him on because I've been throwing out all my bottles of water in the car.
I was going to bring a bottle up and just throw it right in your.
You're lucky you don't live here, bro.
I had it all planned out.
Literally yesterday when I was getting gas, I was like, it's time. And I just, there's like 8 bottles of water.
That was your sign, bro. That's why
That
you
was
came on
my
the podcast.
sign.
Just
And then
to-
Rocco like reminded about the podcast. I was like, oh, no, I'm reminded every day.
That's good. See, we that's lasting impressions are certainly worth part of the journey. So I'm glad that, you know, when he told me we had to come do this, you had agreed to do it.
And thank you, by the way. I know it took like 2 hours.
You were
to get
punching
here.
the air, right?
What's that? No. I said I'll do it because you guys are good guys, and I said I would, and that's it. He'll tell you, you know, I'm not doing as many podcasts as I was doing.
He's not doing any. He doesn't do mine.
I
can't get him on as a guest.
as in zero.
He said to me, I said to him the other day, hey, you want to hop on the podcast tomorrow? He's like, no. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, so you guys are lucky.
He's your co-host,
this
no?
guy on.
No, I'm done. I like Dana White put it out there, but then he went against his own word, which is really interesting with Dana because
No, that was a joke. He was a joke.
That was a whole
Wait,
joke.
what do you mean with Dana White? I'm sorry.
Dana White went on a podcast, and I think he was just like over it. So what happened?
Yeah.
You ever see the clip where Dana walks off the podcast with Howie Mandel?
with how he made
Yeah.
So what happened was behind the scenes, there was another guest next to him, right? You saw the two. It was Dana, then the other guy was like a rapper or some sort of comedy creator, right? And Dana walked in, and this is the story I heard that like he didn't know this other guy was a guest with him, so it was like not kind of offensive to Dana. You sit him next to this other guy, and like you split guests on a show,
Right.
And I think he felt a little bit slighted, and then he got on, and it was just like a weird kind of dynamic. And then he might have asked a question that he didn't like, and it was just like, dude, I'm done.
Yeah, he was out.
Yeah.
He was out. I texted him. Let me see. I'm going to call him right now.
Dana White?
Can we call Dana
Yeah,
right
call
now?
Dana White right now.
Let's just see if he answers.
Honestly, though, your
Subtle
dad,
flex? Subtle
Dana,
flex?
Dana White would hate the Mario Bosco show because we just split guests.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's the difference between the Mario Bosco show and this?
Yo, a lot of people ask that. I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing that like gets me a little annoyed. Right now, I'm just trying to keep it busy because he's calling Dana White, and I'm nervous about it.
No, I'm not gonna call. I'm just reading my last text to him, which was around that time.
Hey, Dana, why'd you stop
when he
podcast?
Yeah,
walked
what's
on.
up, bro?
What's up, brother?
Imagine just right now. But yeah, so the Mario Bosco show, a lot of people like on our YouTube now, who's like a Mario Bosco fan, and I guess people that have been watching us all these years, they say to us like, "Why do you guys get the good guests and Mario doesn't?" And I'm like, because I'm inviting them on my show.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's your show.
What do you mean? Like, and then like for Mario, we got really lucky and got Lisa Ann, Nems, Charles Oakley. But what I've learned is to get guests for other people also is kind of hard. Like when you do a podcast, it's very personable when you reach out to the person like, we want you on.
Yeah.
We're going to reach out to you, you know? Sure. So that's a big thing with podcasting. Like when there's a producer involved or someone that's speaking for you, it's not as easy to get someone on unless it's coming from you.
Sure. Well, it's the sincerity of that, right? So you want to have a house party, you're gonna have to invite people specifically and prepare them why they're maybe coming, right? So we were just talking on our way here about he went to an event, went to UFC, and you were in the whatever that room is, a green room, whatever. What do they call it? What's the big holding room that they put you in? Was it a VIP room?
Yeah.
All right, so the VIP room. So meaning there's a lot of people in that room that are potential guests, and you know I'm of the nature that okay, if this is a room, there's a fun time you can have, and then there's a purpose you can make. I work the room. I'm going to go in a room with purpose and intent, okay? And I'm going to walk out of a room with something to help benefit me. And when I say that, that's not being selfish.
You're talking about like networking.
I'm talking about networking. This because the truth is, it's very rare that you're going to be in an environment, in let's say a room, where you can leverage that audience. It's rare. And you can go in with a casual mindset, just like, oh, I'm just gonna have a good time. I don't care. But you kind of always do care because in the back of your mind, you're surveying who's potentially in the room and who might be a good alignment with you at some point. So how do you approach that? He has his way, I have mine. And it is a subtle thing, but I think as you get older, you learn that, no, now's the time. Like it's go time right now. I don't know that I'm gonna get this shot again. It's 20 seconds of courage.
It's a fine line.
Let me go
though.
talk to somebody.
It's a fine line about being aggressive or not, because
Right.
at least once or twice a week, I go to one of these kind of things that someone invites you to, and then you're rubbing shoulders with this guy who works with that guy, and
Sure.
you know who plans on working with this guy, and
Yeah.
like 1 out of 10, you get what you need. You know.
Yeah. But so in that example, you know, there's a lot to be said about podcasting in general, right? You guys are all deep in it. This is what you do. Mm-hmm. Some of it's just casual conversation that's entertaining because you're real people and you have personalities. Cool. Then there's the value add that people who are listening want to grab a nugget from, right? Well, what is that? What's that message? What's that nugget? And in the example we're just talking about here, you said, 1 out of 10 times there's, 1 out of 10, you might get something. I look at it from a different lens. And it's that if there's that room and it's networking and it's casual with again, entertainment purpose or value, why not just go introduce yourself and put it out there and say to somebody, hey, maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe let's connect. Let's develop whatever we can in the form of a relationship. And here's my purpose. I'm going to put it out there. I'd like to have you on as a guest. I'd like to see if there's a collaboration we can come up with at some point.
See, now this is where it gets tricky, because let's say we're at a party and there's someone I want on my show. Right? Or they work with someone I want on my show. Yesterday we were at this grand opening, and this guy worked with a lot of movie guys, and he was saying a story about Edie Falco, who played Carmela Soprano.
Right.
So like my first thing was like, oh, she would be great on my show. Like, I didn't like, I was just straight up about it. Like,
why not?
Connect me with her, you know, like I'll have her on my show. But didn't work.
Well, but
What did he say?
So
What did he
I
say?
didn't even get that guy's number because then the conversation to get the person's number becomes awkward too.
Sure.
So like say I met you through Rocco, right? And I'm saying, yo, I want this guy for my show. Here, take down my number. Or if you need it, get it from Rocco. That's like the way I do it. Like if you want my number, get it from the person that kind of introduced us.
well,
know what I mean?
Wayne Grazie says it best. You missed 100% of the shots you don't take. There should be no reservation. Even in that scenario, replaying it over, you took your shot because the alternative is to say nothing. And then you walk away with nothing.
Yeah.
So
Can you give me advice, like if I could have done better than that? Like,
No, I think that you there's nothing wrong with that. There's no listen. I don't particularly care for a lot of the people that try to teach others how to sell. Right, selling is a big umbrella, and there are techniques. There's certain things that you can do, and steps that you can follow in discipline and routine to help increase your odds of closing a deal, right? There are. But when it becomes a function of just human interaction, and I meet you for the first time, I meet you, all three of you guys in a room, we want to make sure there's something that, you know, that connects, right? I might have a conversation with him and I may find out through just, you know, asking questions that he has a sister and I have children that age. And so there's always a common thread. So find the common thread and be sincere and stay with that. And then from the other part of it, which is just simply asking, throw it out there. What do you got nothing to lose.
For us, like the common thread is always oh, you Italian?
Yeah, that's an easy
Come
one
to
for
my
you.
show.
Well, you at least have a theme for your show. You know what I mean? Like because that's an easy one. It opens it up for me to be like, oh, that makes sense for me to be on.
Yeah, we just use the excuse like, you're Italian, you got to come on and support for the culture.
Come on, you're part
It's
of
for
the
the culture.
It's for the
you
culture.
know?
You have to be on here. It's funny, like even being at like a UFC event, and you probably noticed it too. Like a lot of content creators, like get like this air to them because they've been on fucking social media for 3 years. They like don't even want to talk to you. It's like the weirdest thing in the world when you meet somebody in person and like they walk around like their shit doesn't stink. Like you're not, you know, DiCaprio over here. You can have a conversation with somebody.
You know, and speaking on that point, I feel when sometimes now when I get into these rooms and people see me on social media, I feel I just get like kind of, when someone's like recognizes me and says, "Oh, I watched," I'm just like, "Thank you." But then
That's
I
you
get
being
stuck.
humble.
I don't know. I'm saying like
Oh.
sometimes I'm not really good at small talk, but let's say I know you and it's you know I see your Johnny Drinks.
Yeah.
You know, so
Let's
you got
talk
something to
about drinks. You
Yeah,
know,
you got
like,
something to talk about.
But when it's someone I don't know, I feel like I'm lacking a little bit.
All right, well, let's
with-
practice. Yo, I love your podcast. You and Rocco are killing it.
Thanks, man.
That's it.
I'll say something like, "What's your favorite episode that you watched?"
Oh shit, dude.
Damn, off rip. You
Yo,
said
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you just had that Italian cook chef on. She was great.
Leah's Cucina?
No, she was all. I mean, we love Leah. we love
This
Leah.
is how it usually goes.
We love Leah. Well, honestly,
Leah
I gotta
Victoria.
give. Yeah, we gotta show love to Leah.
Yeah.
So,
So
for
like
sure.
basically most of the time I'm like talking about people that I've had on my show.
Yeah, that's
You
like, I
know,
mean that is a good
yeah.
entry level one.
And
'cause-
always good
Entry
ways.
level
Never
Yeah,
bad. Never
right?
bad.
You know what it is? A lot of people watch clips. They don't watch full. Podcast.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's
Yeah,
why
they're like,
usually, that's
oh,
usually where the conversation goes. I'm like,
The
oh, so you
casual
didn't watch the
versus
show,
the-
you watched the clip.
now you get mad.
Well,
at
they're
them.
casual viewers. You know, you can't get mad at
Why
that.
don't you go subscribe right now? Put
Yeah.
your phone out.
No,
You're
so
you're
if
such
you
a big fan.
If you really like me,
yeah. How much you
subscribe.
like me? Subscribe to
Well,
this
for
channel.
everybody watching this, like, what are they getting thrown at? Again, networking advice, casual advice, social media advice.
This
we got
whole-
the boys from Johnny Drinks over here.
Yeah.
So we're on their podcast. I don't even remember how long ago that was.
2 months ago now. At this point,
Was it 2 months ago?
Maybe a
Something
little
like that.
more.
Yeah, maybe a little more. It was a while ago.
Damn, time's going slow.
Crazy,
Only 2
right?
months.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's a little
So
more.
crazy.
It's a little
So it
more.
was only right. We had to run it back. Turbo. with now a retired podcaster.
Yeah, I'm retired.
Yeah.
This is
We're gonna convince him to start again.
Listen, well, it's funny. He says I'm retired. He gets on the mic, doesn't stop talking for 30 minutes straight. So
Well, because
he's
I
a
like it,
natural,
bro.
He
though.
needs
He's
it back.
natural.
refreshing. This
He
is
needs
refreshing.
it back. He needs it back.
I talk to you all day long, and I get this.
Oh,
just looked
here
at
he
his
goes.
face.
Here he
Nice.
goes.
It's all right. Well, that's the dad in me. So, but no, thanks for having us. Of
course. You guys are always welcome.
This is you guys. You touched on a few things. Number one, yeah, the Italian piece, the heritage, the support, the authenticity of where you guys live. I mean, you're above an Italian deli,
Is.
right? Your deli, right? Your
Yeah,
family
yeah,
business.
yeah.
So about that in itself just screams, you know, for anyone who's has an opportunity to be invited on this or to be included in this, you should, right? They should come by. And
You know where I can get a fresh quality pizza with the freshest ingredients? I'm talking like homemade dough, pecorino romano grated in-house.
Of course.
Where?
Because Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza and Wings. That coal fire is at the heart of who they are.
Oh, they're that spot that's located all in the Northeast, and they have a bunch in Florida, right?
Yep.
Man, I love when you have a good recommendation for once.
you almost need to, back to the whole networking thing, you almost have to flex on yourself when you're in that situation again, because you have something to offer. This is a value add. This is as real as it's going to get. I don't come over the Brooklyn Bridge at all, if ever.
He doesn't cross the Hudson ever.
Okay. So I've seen plenty of movies. I have plenty of friends from Brooklyn that grew up, and I kind of get the vibe of it, right? But it's
You never hung out in Brooklyn like that?
no.
He said, John, let's take a video. We're going over the
Yeah, I
Brooklyn
videoed.
Bridge.
I videoed
said,
going
what?
over the bridge.
What are you talking about?
A
I
selfie
videoed going
or
over the
like
bridge.
outside.
Like this.
You want to see my video? Here, I'll show you my video.
I do.
It's
I do.
corny.
I'm like, what are you doing?
That's what
It's
my
tour-
dad does too.
You put it on your Instagram.
I didn't do anything yet with it.
He said, Johnny, post this.
It's just
I said,
it's,
to
it's
what?
So
fucking
for you
beautiful.
see this.
That's actually the Manhattan Bridge, though.
No, it said Brooklyn.
No, it's not the Brooklyn Bridge.
This said the
The Brooklyn Bridge is this one with the
Oh, I got
bricks.
the wrong bridge.
Yeah.
Wait,
All right.
hold on a second. Is
The
there
Brooklyn Bridge is the one that's all brick.
So
It's like the
why does it
oldest
say
bridge.
Brooklyn Bridge? It's
No,
like,
we went
oh,
over the Manhattan today.
That's
He's
the
right.
Manhattan Bridge, yeah. You'll
I
know
didn't
the
get the
Brooklyn
right
Bridge when
bridge.
you
Yeah.
see it.
Well, can we
That's
take it
so
back?
funny.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take it back.
I mean, the Brooklyn
That's
and
so
Manhattan
funny.
Bridge go almost
Good thing we didn't
very,
post that, though.
very
Yeah.
close to each other.
Look
It's a
at
little
the
5
live
minute
view of the
detour.
Brooklyn Bridge. People are like, these guys.
Instead of taking
I-
2 hours to get home, it'll take 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Take the
Yeah,
Brooklyn
you might as
Bridge.
well just go.
Well, we
over
got to
the-
stop
We'll
somewhere
take
for
the-
something to eat somewhere. At some
Well,
point.
don't.
Yeah, I wish I knew a
Hopefully
Italian. I
the
wish I knew a
food,
sandwich
Oh, you
spot.
got food
Yeah,
coming?
yeah, hold on.
I
yeah,
wish I
hold
knew
on.
a sandwich
we got
spot.
food coming.
No,
That's different.
You
Never
got
mind.
to. You got to. You
Check
guys brought out
that.
the sandwiches.
I was
for
gonna
us.
say we brought you guys sandwiches.
So,
I forgot the name of the
I'm
spots.
actually
but-
reminding me.
Cangiano's.
Yeah, it's still your number one.
It's funny, dude. I had somebody else on the podcast the other day, and I just wanted to get her sandwiches. And I was like, Cangiano's is like tried and true. It's right there. There's
solid.
there's some other spots in the area that are pretty good,
Yeah.
but they're not Italian over there, which sort of was like kind of throws it off. You want to talk to an Italian guy when you go to an Italian deli.
Yeah.
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 You know, I want to see you behind the cash
Yeah?
register. You know, yeah.
slicing it up.
Do you still slice it up? When's the last sandwich you made?
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
You know? As far as like working in a deli, I haven't physically been there in like, I don't know, 2 years because of this. But it's like riding a bike, you know?
You're busy though. How many
When I
episodes?
see
you guys
prosciutto, like I know what I'm doing.
it snaps right back.
Yeah.
Over
but
320.
We've been busy with, I mean, the podcast is a lot of work, but realistically, we do one episode a week when you break it down. Maybe we'll film 2 or 3 in a week, but you prepare to release one a week, right?
Yeah.
But it's more like what we're doing in Little Italy that's been taking a lot of our time
What are you doing over there?
because we're putting another studio there for this.
Oh, are you?
And we're going to like have a studio where other people could record.
Smart.
Our partners are going to have their podcast there. So we've been super busy with that more than anything.
Who are your partners?
The Italian American podcast. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I don't know. I'll
Well,
look into it.
they're going to start filming now. They only been doing audio.
Oh, you told me about them
Yeah,
when you were
yeah,
there. Yeah, okay.
So-
oh, cool.
So they're going to start doing video. We're going to help produce the video content. You know, we have some stuff in the works. So we're super excited to be professional Italian Americans.
That's you're doing it. You've been
That's scary to
professional
say, right?
I mean,
since day one.
some people ask me like, "What do you do?" I'm just like, "Yeah, just professional Italian American."
And like, I don't really know.
How else do you explain what the hell?
I'd
we
say
do,
like
you know?
professional, unprofessional Italian American.
Yeah,
for me.
You
yeah,
could
well, you
throw
do
the
this. This is a
professional
full. You're a full time podcaster.
Yeah, but it's like crazy to say. Like,
Yeah.
how does that sound to you?
So look, what you were saying
I-
to this point, this is exactly the point I wanted to make too. With podcasting, it's not always about the podcasting, but what you do with your guests. Like
Yeah.
this right here, it's not the biggest moneymaker in the world,
Right.
but maybe I could convince you to open a bar in Little Italy, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know, it's another situation. You know,
Yeah.
So that's really what podcasting does when you have.
Listen, I'll say this: I am a hard critic of podcasting, just the general concept of it, and it is informative, it's helpful, it's entertaining, but it also has unfortunately watered down and diluted a skill set of young people, right? Which is back to my point of walking in a room, because you guys talk. There's conversation going on, and yes, you're going to listen to podcasts, and you're going to grab a nugget, and you're going to take from something that that person said on a podcast as being the way it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of podcasting noise and a lot of guys that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Listen, on that point, I agree with him though.
Yeah. Oh,
On
there
that
are,
point, I
there
agree
are,
with him.
and I'm not shitting on you, him, anybody that does it. There's a value add. It's healthy. It's constructive. It is a business model. That being said, too many younger people put too much stock and value in who they're listening to, and it's not quantified. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, which bothers me personally because I'm in the real estate business. All right. Now, I listen to real estate podcasts and people, and I watch them as realtors who are bored out of their minds right now because there's no business, right? Mortgage people that are bored out of their minds because there's no business. So what do? They put some mics in front of themselves, they get a camera, and they say, oh, I'm going to do a podcast.
Bro, let's start a podcast.
You know what? And I'm going to talk about real estate, right? I pop onto one just the other day. Nice guy, talking about real estate, giving advice. Here's how. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's what you need to do. 3, 4, 5. I'm listening. I'm like, this is the same guy that asked me to bail him out from his bankruptcy and his horrible credit that was in the 500s.
Shots
looking
fired.
for money. So now,
Yeah,
so my
what's his
point
name?
is, you're listening
We're
to
not
somebody.
cutting this out, by the way.
But no,
I
you
don't
can keep it
want
on.
to hear it later
I'm
on.
not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you who it is. But my point is, it's not qualified. These are not qualified people that have done anything.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. That
And in the larger scope of things, I'm picking on the real estate industry right now because that's where, again, my career is, right? I'm picking on that just as an example, but it's consistent throughout, everything that you guys watch and listen to.
right, but okay, you can't blame the podcast space for that. You blame the end viewer or listener to something like that. That's like anything else. If I surround myself with the wrong people in life, you blame me, not them.
I'm not
There's
blaming
plenty of
anybody.
podcasters that provide value to
Right.
guys that don't have networks the same way that maybe some other people do.
For me, I always said that our show is strictly entertainment purposes only. So
Well, yours is.
I don't.
See, because you're not giving any lifestyle advice here.
I mean, there's sometimes we're educational. We talk about our, the culture, the traditions.
Yeah.
Of course, that's just in our blood. That's normal.
Right.
But we're never gonna claim to be like a podcast where you're gonna get some value that I mean, you're gonna get value. It's just different type of.
Well, you're not going to talk about how to run maybe a small business, right?
Right.
And a family small
I mean,
business.
maybe we
right?
will in one
and
episode,
get into the
but
books.
we're
But you're
not
not going
gonna-
to get into the books of it.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk about, price point, margin, spreads, impulse buy items that are on the counter versus stuff that's in the shelf and shelf space. You're not going to do all that. You could if you wanted to, and that would bring a super authentic value add to someone who's considering opening up
You know what
their
it is?
small little deli.
These podcasts and the clips go viral. Obviously, it's just them talking about how to make money and how to invest your money if you're young. So most of TikTok is obviously young people. How do they invest their $50,000 hypothetically salary? How do they make more in 10 years? So you get somebody on there that's like, all right, well, with that 50,000, 70%, you're gonna just invest in real estate. What does that mean? You don't even know. They're just saying invest in real estate. Don't touch the money. It'll roll over. In 10 years' time, you have double your money. Right? Sounds great. I'm gonna be a schmuck. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. Let me see what it is. And then this guy's giving consultation courses. So like you're giving the potatoes, but there's no meat to it.
Yeah.
But it's gonna get traction because who doesn't want to make money? You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Oh, who's this?
There we
Oh,
go.
hello.
This is my dad, by the way.
Oh, hey, how are you?
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm John.
That's the Anthony and Son.
Nice to meet you, bud.
This looks delicious. What is this right here?
That's the.
prosciutto, burrata, arugula,
Did you make this? Has it got a fig spread on it?
fig spread.
Oh my God! This is
That's
what we
the
came here
Anthony
for.
Dollar.
This is why we're here.
Anthony and Dollar.
That's,
Oh, beautiful! Thank you so much.
To me,
What it made me who I am today.
Oh,
What is that?
Good. Chicken cutlet.
Fresh mozzarella, vodka sauce, and garlic bread.
Nice.
Is
Those
that
are the
warm?
top two, Zio? Top two
Wow.
sellers, right?
That's the top of two salad right
Beautiful.
there.
They look great.
Enjoy, guys.
Thank
Thank
Gio.
you. Nice meeting you.
This is why we're here.
I'm
people.
curious which one's your favorite. I know mine. I mean, they're both phenomenal.
Listen, you guys don't have to eat right this second, but when we came on your show, you brought sandwiches.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Well, you're not going to let me look at it.
I'll tell you what. I'm not staring at the sandwich. I can't think of anything right now.
if you guys want to take,
I forgot what my point was.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Similar,
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
When we came on your show, you know.
Manja.
Oh, this I could already tell the bread is
Nah,
the
you
bread
gotta
is
say.
fresh.
I gotta be a typical Brooklyn guy right now. Say you don't got this in Jersey.
I was gonna say that.
No, you can. No, you could say that because
Well,
when
I
I
can
went
tell you
to Casa del Mozzarella
Mozzarella, yeah, very
by
good.
so my cousin's my sister's boyfriend's cousin owns it.
I think you said that
Yeah.
on the show, right?
Yeah. So that sandwich is you're not getting this anywhere else type of thing. Like I taste that one bite in.
Mozzarella is the best.
This is
My dad
Wow,
showed
this
me.
bread,
if I said
the bread is warm. The cheese, I can tell, is soft and warm as well.
Real
The chicken
recognize real.
cutlet.
That's what I like about you, B.
Wow.
This one is they're both. These are like two of our best sellers. So when I knew you guys were coming, I'm like, you at least gotta try it because at least you know what we're about. You know, like we're above the shop.
You want some credibility, right? When you listen to podcasts, I think Sabino has some credibility with the sandwich spot.
Dude, holy
downstairs.
shit.
This is awesome.
Yeah, the flavors. That's a nice summer sandwich right there.
This is the best. This is one of the best sandwiches I've ever had.
This is the one your dad's eating is our best seller. Chicken cutlet, vodka sauce, fresh mozzarella, and a garlic hero. I think I was the first one to ever have that on the menu. I want to take credit for that. But now you see these chicken cutlet vodka sandwiches everywhere. It's like a big trend.
Nice job.
You weren't kidding.
Where do you get the bread?
Yeah, where you get the bread?
Bakery, they're not paying me enough to like shout them out, but it's Cross
no.
Pie Bakery. But yeah, bro, I wish I could make my own bread, but it's like a whole animal. The bread guys, they start like making bread at midnight. Then by like 5, 6 in the morning, the bread's on the road to get here. Like the delivery comes at 6. You know, it's like a whole nother.
They don't give you free bread just to shout them out on the podcast?
Hell no. Italians are the worst to do business with. I think this is the perfect time to start kicking it back in here.
Why are Italians the worst to do business with?
Because they never want to spend money.
They also expect favors a lot.
Yeah.
You know, like we owe them a favor. And to me, I never understood that because we've done this for now over 7 years. It's been.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody really helped us when we started.
Right.
Nobody helped us to now. So like, why do we owe you a favor? Just because you're Italian? Like, of course we want to promote and give that people the platform, but what value are we getting in turn? You know what I mean?
It's interesting because it does seem like Italians tend to be very tit for tat and jealous of other people, even like in the same family. Whereas like you see like the Jewish people, they're all closely knit. They all work together. The Indians, they all work together. And look at the empires they build. You know what I mean? They share money. They share bank accounts. They share businesses. And they have trust in their employees because they're all family in some capacity. Or if they can't get people over here, they go overseas and get them. And they're hard-ass workers.
It's so funny because like we always complain. Like if I had this conversation with 100 different Italian Americans, every single one of them like, you can't work with people.
Yeah.
But technically you're one of the people. You know, like
Right.
It's, like,
You're the problem.
The second you leave that conversation, you're gonna be like, look at this guy showing off with his new car. You know, like
Yeah, you're the problem.
You know,
100%.
he won't have me on the show. I don't understand. I'm a funny guy. He won't have me on. Get out of here.
I can't imagine with you guys especially. I mean, I get people
like crazy,
sometimes say,
bro.
hey, let
we
me
get
on the
3
podcast.
requests a day to come on the show.
Just from random guys.
People like, listen, I grew up in New Jersey. I should be on the show. Like that, literally, that's.
See, this is.
I literally could go over emails and
But
show
that
you.
what you were saying earlier on, like just an example. This is months ago. Went to the Italy game. Met a lot of people that obviously enjoy the podcast. I kid you not, 7 people came up to me, but they were dead serious. Like, yo, you need me on the show. Here's why, X, Y, Z. It's like, see, I respect it, but at the same time, I don't think it's the place. I don't think it's the time. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with that also. Like, I'm at an Italy game. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy it. We're tailgating. Let's just chop it up. If we vibe and there's some connection,
Right.
okay, great. Let's do it. But if it's the first thing you're telling me, bro, there's no shot. I'm like,
John,
So,
how do
so,
you
but
get
you
your
got, so
guests?
hold on. You got to flip your mind.
Crispy, crunchy, savory, and sweet. Order what you want on Uber Eats.
Listen, guys, from now till the end of the year, December 31st, on the Uber Eats app, you go to Anthony and Sampanini shop and you get a nice $25 off.
when you use the code Panini.
Gotta use the code Panini.
Terms apply. See app for details.
Man, I could really go for a drink or something.
Me too. What are you in the mood for?
I don't know, an espresso martini, something. What you got?
Say no more. Born in the north end of Boston, Brico Restaurant. It's a ready-made espresso martini. All you have to do is chill and serve.
Shake, serve, and drink that out of the comfort of your own home.
Salute.
I have the wrong mentality, you think?
Wrong. I'm not going to say your mentality or attitude. It's attitude. Okay? And that's not, when I say the word attitude, most people immediately will resonate with bad attitude. No. Attitude is good. So have an attitude. Have some swag about you. Have some confidence. Be comfortable. Be sincere. Be authentic. That's the attitude. And when you do that and you give that, you get it back. I'm not going to, I'll talk to you like you're my son. And I would say this to him, and I say it to him all day long. If that bothers you, that's on you. Because you should thank goodness that people go out of their way and want to have a conversation with you, want to say how much they enjoy you, want to ask to come on your show.
Yeah, but why do they want to talk to him?
Do not make the mistake and break that down so much so that you think there's an ulterior motive to everybody. There very well might
Talk
be.
to him right there. He's in person.
There very well might be an ulterior motive. And people do have agendas. Yes. We're talking about a very short conversation. We're talking about something that potentially could springboard itself into something else that you weren't expecting. And so all I would say to anyone who's listening or cares to flip your mindset a little bit is understand if that's the dialogue, hey, I want to come on your show, I'm a funny guy. You are funny. That's great. You don't want to have that conversation. You have a person. Maybe there's a real person. Maybe there's not a person. I'm going to have so-and-so connect up with you. Or DM us, and my assistant, right, manager, somebody will field that. And we'll see if there's a match.
And then they give them a quote that they pass out.
This guy told me he was going to have me on. I wait 6 months, I hear nothing.
That's all right. That's all right. That means you're still watching.
My whole thing is people, instead of saying, when are you going to have me on? That they say, listen, I love the show. If you ever need a guest, I'd love to come on.
Yeah.
I just wish that was the switch, because people feel entitled to be sitting here.
Yeah.
Well, they're comfortable with you. Listen, you guys did it to yourselves. You open yourself up, and you're making the audience who doesn't know you think that they're your friends.
We're not your friends.
Congratulations.
Buy a shirt.
Congratulations. But congratulations. That's what you want. Yeah. So the trick is, not trick, that's not even the right word. If you relate to any show growing up that you really liked, and I'm not talking about cartoons, but any show where you felt like a connection to it. I know in my case, there were several different shows. More recently, I would say to you, you watch Seinfeld, right? We grew up watching Seinfeld. You probably saw the episodes as well, right?
Episodes, yeah.
I'm older. You guys are younger. Different, optics on that. I feel like I know George Costanza. And if I don't know him, Jason Alexander, I know George Costanza. And I would love to hang out with that guy. I'd love to see that guy. But you know what would happen? And probably if I met him in person, it wouldn't be George Costanza, right? That's on me.
Yeah, but you wouldn't go up and say, hey, let me get on the next episode of Seinfeld. I'm funny.
Listen.
Yeah. But people do that.
Listen,
I'm sure they do.
May not. But if I ran into Jerry Seinfeld, I'd say, Jerry, love your stuff. Watch you all my life. My son has a podcast. I know you're going to say, I challenge us, think differently. Just 1 second. Hear this out. There's got to be an agent, your manager. Just, if you don't mind, let me have the intro with them. We'll see where it goes.
But I think like he's
Jerry, if you're watching, just let me know.
Yeah, Jerry, please. Let me know. But Jerry's used to those sort of things. I don't think that ask is that bad, because he's in that space. A random guy that's never been on a podcast before going up to them and saying, "Get me on the podcast." It's a funny conversation, but is it going to lead to really anything? I guess for them, like you said, there's really no harm. Because if they shoot their shot with you guys, and then one day, like, you know what?
How did you meet Dana White?
If you want, I went up to him.
Jerry follows us, just so you know.
No way.
Yeah, Jerry,
get on the. Has he been on the podcast yet?
He follows Growing Up Italian.
He does follow it.
Well,
Yo,
so hit him
that
up.
is incredible.
That's a funny.
Joe
Yeah, DM
Rogan
him.
follows Growing
him
Up
up.
Italian too. He left us on red 3 times.
Well, maybe he's looking for the fourth message.
Let's
Message
get
right
into
now.
a little bit about what you guys do.
All right,
You know,
all
because
right.
I feel like it's been
Yeah, what do
yeah, we
do?
didn't even talk
35
about it.
minutes
What are we
in.
doing?
We've been
Yeah,
like,
we can
all
chop
over.
all
What
that
are we
up.
doing? I'm gonna
Well,
finish
you
my
know,
Came in
sandwich.
hot, yelling at you guys, telling you what to do.
So talk to us. Like I know you said this 100 times already. Give us the backstory. Johnny Drinks. How did it all happen? How did that
Yeah.
come about?
You want me to take this? Or you
Yeah,
got it?
I'm chewing.
Okay, you chew. Pretty basic story. It was 2020. It was February 2020. He was making a cocktail in the basement. Mind you, he's not a bartender at this point. I'm fresh out of college, so I don't really know anything other than like a vodka club. And he's making a Manhattan, smoking it. And he's like, you know, Johnny, we're going out to eat. You know, watch him make this. And I had TikTok on my phone for like a week at this time. And I'm like, screw it, let me film him do this. It kind of looks pretty cool. Let me throw some Frank Sinatra in the background and see where it goes. Post the video, put it in my pocket. We're at Del Frisco's in the city. And I see the video has like 30,000 views. You know, at that point I was like, this is crazy. I'm the next big thing. And now it's going viral, I guess, at night. The next day it has like 1 million views. We didn't really think anything of it, right? Now quarantine hits, we had nothing else to do. And I was like, Dad, let's just keep making drinks. Like, who cares? People seem to like it. And they did. Long story short, that kind of trajectory continued on for a pretty long time. And you guys probably noticed this with a lot of creators who had on. There's always going to be a point of like extreme parabolicness. You know, like we hit the ground running and we could do no wrong at that point. You know, we posted anything and people liked it because we were fresh and we were new and nobody else was kind of doing anything at that point. So I would say like 6 months in is when we said, all right, we have something going here. Yeah, we're making cocktails, but people really care about the father and son dynamic. Let's dive into the father and son stuff, like the dad advice, tie and ties, shining shoes. Oh, he's a golfer. He likes golf. Let's golf. People like that stuff. We're traveling now. He dresses nice. So there's all these different things.
You're always sharp.
He's a sharp dresser. So there's all these different things that we realize, like, again, less about what we're doing, more about the entertainment of watching a father and son just do something together, you know, which I didn't realize how rare that really is, because when you have it, it's sort of hard to see it from the macro view. With the DMs of people saying thank you just because he feels like my dad now, or you're so lucky to have a dad in your life, and I am. So yeah, 4 years later, here we are. Johnny Drinks. We have about a little over 4 million followers across the board.
Yeah, no big deal.
The name is Johnny Drinks. We'll keep it that. Yeah, something like that.
YouTube's booming too. No problem.
No, but one of those things where you just keep your head down and you keep going, and eventually it's gonna grow.
Yeah.
The name is Johnny Drinks, but again, I always say, like, if we started with a sandwich video, it'd be Johnny Eats right now. So the name is, we just had this conversation, way less important than what the actual brand stands for and is. You know,
Right. That's a good point.
But something
Well
to
said.
remember.
Yeah, and he brought
Easy to
up
remember that.
he brought up a good point the other day. So I'm always like thinking this or that, like opportunity cost of what we can be doing versus what we're doing now. And I said to him, I was like, you know, from a brand perspective or people that are just new watching us, maybe we change the name, you know, because number one, half the stuff we do isn't drink related. And number two, I don't want it to always be about drinks. I think there's so much more value that we provide than just him reviewing fucking seltzers once in a while. But he brought up a good point, is like, again, look, the name doesn't matter that much, but it does give somebody that's on the street to be like, holy shit, Johnny Drinks, versus, oh, that's that father and son, I forget the name, and John something, you know? So
That's us. It's like, oh, those are the
Growing Up Italian guys, right?
Italian
Yeah.
guys, yeah.
It's hard, especially with you two, it's hard. You guys have, you know, we share the name, so that's easier.
Well, we start brand first.
Right.
So that's why.
yeah, the Grown Up Italian guys.
Yeah,
It
it's just
doesn't,
like Johnny Drinks is the brand.
they may not even know your names, honestly. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it
don't.
How many
doesn't
people
matter.
come up to us, they're like, oh, what's your dad's name? Or what's your name? I was like, it's John. What are you talking about?
Isn't that
He's like,
funny?
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know. That's why I picked it.
Rocket science.
Yeah.
We were driving through, and I have a convertible and roof.
a flex.
down.
Oh, yeah?
And
Not
guys
a
on
flex
guys
over
on
there.
a
Subtle flex.
No,
Jeez.
well, I had to get ready for my video of what I thought was the Brooklyn Bridge.
That's so funny.
Now it's the Manhattan Bridge.
I wish.
That's
I
why.
wish
By the way, that's why I don't post anything.
I wish I
Got
could.
the
So I
wrong
let-
bridge.
But could you imagine? Because I mean, oh, I went over to Brooklyn Bridge. People would tear me. People tear me
Look
up.
at this
as it is.
Jo saying it's the
Yeah,
Brooklyn
that's so funny.
When you do the top down, you put sunscreen on your head?
No,
Because I burn like crazy.
no, I don't, and I don't keep it down that long. But I'm, you know, listen. I probably should have sunscreen on my head anyway all the time. I've got this thing, which I don't know what's worse.
I know.
The
I do the
chemicals-
same thing.
The chemicals putting all in and saturating.
so true.
Or the UV rays that are very damaging and harmful. And yes, I respect. I'm going to the dermatologist next week. Actually, this Friday I'm going.
Why?
Wait, I'm going tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow.
what's
So
wrong?
you know, I go once a year just to get checked out.
Yeah,
And
smart.
Good.
but again, is it smart? It's responsible. But no, smart would probably be leaving the top up or having the top down with a hat on or putting sunblock on. That would be smart.
And the tan lines would be crazy.
I just
Yeah,
don't
we don't
know.
want
Yeah,
that.
I don't know.
You gotta look good for
So,
camera.
Anyway.
We need you tan.
Yeah.
When did you lose your hair?
I'm going to say probably 25-ish, somewhere around there.
23.
Start to go. Yeah. Maybe.
You
So
lost
I-
at 23? Gone?
You want to hear a good hit?
Like I shaved it at 23 because I had like
Yeah.
a 6 head.
You want to hear a good story?
Yeah, the
So-
grill downstairs. He turned it on, the heat.
Yeah.
That's it.
That
No,
could
what
happen.
happened was I had a bad hairline and I was balding right here. And but the reason why I asked is when I first like shaved it, like my face was red, but then up here was super white. And because I was wearing a hat all the time, because I was like, damn, I'm bald, whatever,
Yeah.
it was even worse.
Right.
And then I started pulling, I'm like, nah, I need to get
You
sun
pulled
on
off
this
well,
thing.
though. You have a nice beard.
Yeah,
like,
you're
you have
round.
a-
You
you
I
have
have
a
the
head shape for
big,
it.
big melon head.
You're round.
You
But
both
yeah,
have good head.
I want to hear. I want to hear.
Oh, so
your,
no.
your balding.
At a
stuff.
young age of probably 24, 23-ish, I started losing the hair. And to your point, I was losing it back here. So there was GLH, it was called. And it was Ronco. And he was the super pitch man on television. He did everything, like the super quick vacuum to pick this up, how to clean that.
Like infomercials? Like
the
that?
I think I know what you're talking
appliances that help, cook food faster, whatever, dicing, slicing. He had this spray called GLH. And I guess it was really just this hairspray, colored hairspray. And so it used to be like a filler.
Hair color hairspray.
Hair colored.
Is that like
Oh,
microfibers? Like today
Yeah,
or-
back then, again, I don't know. Someone got it as a joke. And then I used it in mine, and it gave such great volume. I was like, wow, this looks awesome. I mean, it really looked good. Like, no one could tell because it was only in the back. I was like, oh, good. I'm in sales. I go bouncing around from account to account. I spray my hair in the morning to go. And I got caught in the rain from leaving my car. And this is early on. I didn't know. From the car, I go into the account.
You had the sun.
Talk
You had
to-
the sunroof open.
No, this is no. It rains. I make my call. I go back from the account. I go back in my car, getting ready to put my seatbelt on. I look in the rearview mirror. I got paint dripping down my forehead.
Oh, no.
I'm like, done. Shaving it. That was it. After that, I was like, you know what? God has a bigger plan for me, I guess. So I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let the hair go, and I just took it down.
I've never heard that story.
Yeah, ask your mom.
Your son has a good head of
This
hair.
is I'm dying with this thing.
Oh,
This is
he's
going nowhere.
yeah. He's got his
You have thin
mom's
hair, right?
his mom's
Oh,
father.
come on. Thin?
Thick? That's
Grandpa.
Thick, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even tell.
Look at the hairline.
My hair is super thin.
Yeah.
Like there's some gaps up here. I might have to start.
Don't look it.
Yeah, you need to-
don't.
you need to buy some of that
Hey,
spray.
you're good. You got the line.
Yeah.
If you're at this point, you got the line. You're good.
Yeah.
Hold it on.
Nah, it should
Were
be
you ever
okay.
nervous that you would lose your hair because you?
No, it's just the grandfather of your mom, I think.
Right.
And he still has
My
hair.
my no had a full head of hair.
Oh,
Really?
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not true.
Your dad's bald, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
the curse
shit.
you'll curse.
But your
they call it.
grandfather,
Cut a generation.
His my
your
dad
your mom's father, full head of
full
hair.
head of hair.
Beautiful.
That's
hair,
crazy.
Well, that's what they say. Well, that's
Like
what it
the
is.
way your
It's the
son's
mom's-
is like nice.
Yeah.
Like Rocco's hair. Like if Rocco grew a little longer.
Yeah, nice full.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
Thick
that
hair.
Italian
Slick
afro
back.
almost. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
the coif.
yeah.
I had a mullet last couple months ago. I grew that bitch
Like a
out.
full mullet?
Yeah. I could if I grew I'd grow like an afro. I have real
Really?
thick hair. Yeah.
Try it.
I should,
Do
right?
it
Why
again,
not?
yeah.
I want to bleach it too.
Yeah.
Why not? I'm a podcaster now. I can do what I want.
Well,
He's flexing now.
Yeah, right.
speaking of flexing,
Sabino's like, I get it.
there was something I saw. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Where it's you. I forgot the other lady's name.
Yeah.
Forgive me. And then Dua Lipa. And it's like talking about like dating.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on? How did this even happen? So
Yeah, so
what's the backstory behind that?
that's a funny one. So the girl Steph in the middle, she has a show, Hot and Single.
Okay.
Just like reaches out to people that are like in New York normally and just like, I guess ask them questions about why they're single and figures out like if you're the problem or not. That's like the basic gist of the show. And a friend of a friend knew her. They reached out, asked me, and she was like, hey, can you send me a video of like, who you are and why you're single, shit like that. Sent it to her. She's like, this is great. Can you come in on Wednesday to film? And I was like, no, sorry, I have a tattoo appointment. Can't do Wednesday. I'll do any other day. She's like, no, you really have to come in Wednesday. I was like, I'm telling you, I can't. And she's like, all right, I didn't want to tell you this, but our guest co-host is Dua Lipa. I was
So you
like,
canceled the tattoo
I
appointment.
was like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna tattoo a different day. So I went in on Wednesday, and I didn't really know what to expect, but it was funny because it was me and two other guys, and the other guys were just not regular, but like they had regular jobs, like weren't on camera, so they were like sweating bullets, like getting ready to go in. And I thought she had on like other creators or people that have been on camera before because you're going to meet Dua Lipa, but no, they went in first. The guy walked out. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe it. I didn't know what to say.
We're very excited to announce a long-term partnership with the Soto Gastronomia out from Australia. These guys got a really, really interesting restaurant concept where all their profits go to all these Italian charities.
Tesoro has a very interesting story. So they're first generation Italian Australians.
They're basically us in Australia.
Tesoro was created in their parents' and grandparents' honor so that they can pay their legacy forward. 100% of their proceeds goes to people in need, charities, and the arts.
DeSoto will be supporting us this year, so you know the content's going to be even better.
Bro, and who knows? Maybe at some point we're going to have to take a trip down under, huh?
I was always curious how the Italian Australians made food.
It's time we find out.
Like, all right, man, whatever. And so the way they did it was like they were constant rolling. It wasn't like you sit down and then ready, set, go. So you walked into whatever it was. And so I walked in and I had flowers, but I had flowers for the host, like just to say thank you for having me on. Yeah. And I wasn't even gonna share it on camera. But as I'm walking down, oh, thank you. As I'm walking down, the producer's like, can you give those flowers to Dua in front of Steph? I think it'd be hilarious. I was like, yeah, I don't care. I walk down, I hand her flowers, and I sit down, and Steph is like, you just bought her flowers and not me? She's like, what'd you get me? And I was like, oh, here, high five. And so that like it was a fun conversation, but it was like 30 minutes. And they chopped that up to a minute and a half of just like ripping me to shreds about. And then I realized the show really is like that whole men suck vibe, you know, being blunt. And I get that. Like that's a funny shtick. And I wasn't too pissed about anything they did, except for the end where they really ripped me up about like, she asked me like, why should somebody date me? And I was kind of, well, I was like, whatever. I don't know. For this reason.
You got pretty sentimental, right?
Yeah, well, I tried to. Yeah. I was like, you know, I want everybody in my life to become a better version of themselves. Yeah. And she jokingly was like, oh, because of you. And I was like, yeah, because of me. So we joked about that, but then she edited that in, and then all the comments were like, this pretentious guy, like this is what the problem this generation is, blah, blah, blah. This guy's stuck in high school. He's wearing my varsity jacket.
That was fire jacket, bro.
Fire jacket. Can't wear it anymore. I was so pissed. My favorite jacket. Can't wear the jacket anymore. But dude was nice. Yeah, she was cool. But she was very media trained. Like she couldn't say too many things. Yeah. I was trying to bust kind of balls with her. She wasn't having it.
She wasn't having it.
No,
well, that was a dope moment. That was cool to see that.
Bro. It was cool, man. Yeah. I asked her to follow me. She's like, no. Like, okay.
She said no straight up.
Did you ask her?
I was like, how many followers you got? She's like 88 million. I was like, how many people you follow? She's like 3. I was like, you want to follow me? She's like, no. I'm like, all right.
Wow. That's always like, how do you think people that have those massive like followings and then only follow one person?
Well, she followed her media company, and then I think like 2 other media companies. Like it wasn't. She didn't follow anybody actually.
Well, why is that? Explain to me. What's
she doesn't
the
run her own
downside?
account. She's a singer.
Right, but anyone, you will do this too. You'll say, I don't follow anybody. We don't follow. Well, why not? I don't understand. What's the follow?
Your feed's gonna be stuff that you don't want to see.
So much going on.
What?
She got so much going on. She's not gonna follow.
So
now, if I followed you,
yeah,
and I'm someone like Dua Lipa, now you can DM me all the time. Like if you don't follow me, then I don't get your messages.
Okay, well you don't have to answer it either.
Yeah, but you're also just gonna get blown up.
You can play Rocco here. And just like, oh,
listen, you're not Dua Lipa, and you don't get it.
All right, I don't understand the whole.
I think it's
they want
like
you to follow them.
Is it too Hollywood?
No, they want you to follow them, but you
I think
can
people like that's
you.
Instagram. When you go, it's very artsy.
Yeah,
like
it's
you
different.
go and it's like you go to hit the 3 following, and if you're really a big fan, you automatically follow those 3.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. So like it helps out the 3. So the reason he's saying is like she's got 88 million followers, right? If she only follows 3. That's driving traffic to those 3 only. So if I go to her page and she only follows 3 people,
so like let's say
it's like a game.
Let's say I had 100 million followers and I only followed Growing Up Italian,
right?
Paniche, you know,
it's helping out those pages.
Yeah,
so do you think that was orchestrated from the time her account was created?
No, I would say that's recent.
Like, so from when she blew up, so she probably unfollowed.
Right,
she did. So
now she unfollowed. Oh, that's.
So she said she used to follow a ton of people and then like just started.
Yeah, listen, Dalai Lama, whatever her name is, that's wrong.
It's not wrong. It's a business. She doesn't run the account.
Well, she should take a personal interest and follow my son. That's cool. Okay,
ridiculous.
Well, you're lucky.
She did say she did. Oh, I'm really lucky. She did say she reads the DMs. So if you guys are trying to shoot your shot, hit her up. She'll.
That was
probably she may read
cap though. There's no way.
Oh, so she said it. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that part. But
And you're like, I messed her 1,000 times. She never answered me.
but think about it. Do you really want to see on your feed people that, this is going to sound harsh, that you don't really care about?
No,
like,
of course not.
so
you want to see your friends.
Yeah, exactly. So the point of following somebody is to see stuff that you genuinely want to see, right or wrong.
But don't you have the option? Listen, guys, I'm not trying to be. I'm
Mute,
trying
you
to
can
dumb this
mute,
down.
but
I have followers on Instagram, right? I see them up at the top banner. I don't touch them. My feed is my feed. The
I
things
mean,
I
you
like.
don't watch stories.
I don't watch all the stories. No, but so what? I mean, then you're saying you're compelled because it's there to click on it.
yeah.
Are you guys story first or feed first?
Story first?
Yeah, right.
When I pop open the app, wow, that's a really good question. It depends whose story pops up.
So like, what's a good story? Like
Normally, if it's like, if it's somebody like I care about,
like if it's Dua Lipa, you're gonna go.
But see, it's funny. I don't follow people that I don't know. Like I wouldn't follow Dua Lipa.
You don't follow people that don't follow you back.
Not even that out of like a oh, you don't follow me. If I don't know you as a person, like Dua Lipa, I don't know you. I'm not gonna follow you.
Now you do.
I should probably follow her now, huh?
So like,
You should. Maybe she's waiting for you to follow.
I think
back.
she is. I should DM her.
So
All right, so let's see.
I just
I
opened
feel
this
like
up.
the only people that pop up for you are like The Rock.
The Rock,
Yeah, exactly.
Nikki
Yeah,
Cass.
yeah.
No,
Like,
Nikki Cass.
Yeah.
I know, but
Dana
I don't
White,
follow
Conor McGregor.
But I don't follow any of these people, and they just
That's-
keep popping up.
That's
This is the
Instagram
feed,
being
right?
like TikTok. They just give you
This is the
random
feed.
people now.
Macy Blackwell, is that her name?
Yeah, this is The Rock. That's so
I
funny you
don't-
just said that. How did you know that? That's
I follow
hilarious.
The
He just looks
So this is his personal account. He has 400 followers and he's following 80 people. And he posted one video of his
That's it.
Martini.
That was a good one. It's called the Ice.
Yeah,
So that's
It's
the
called,
only one he's
Titanic.
allowed to use.
That Titanic.
touch
So
ours.
see,
I
when
gotta
people
make
get
that.
mad at you for not following, they need to
Yeah,
get mad
look
at
at
you.
I
your
follow
look
as
at your
many people as I
ratio.
can.
No, you don't. You have
When I
400
get
people
a
following you.
request, I follow them.
You have 400 people following you. You only follow 80.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, that's
That means just-
Hollywood.
That means just, you're too
That's
Hollywood for
times
everybody.
five.
That's a
yeah.
forge. Yeah,
That's
That's
times
times
five.
five.
first of all,
Yeah, you're more Hollywood than me.
5
Hold
to
on a
1
second.
ratio.
Wow.
So-
you don't even follow your own father. Your father tried following you. You didn't follow him back.
I must have missed it. So hit him.
Look,
hit it.
look, Grandpa, he doesn't follow you back.
Hit it.
We're following you,
He's not
Grandpa.
even
We're following you back, Grandpa. That's hilarious.
You put him right in the spot.
So wait, you get a notification though when someone wants to
Correct.
follow.
So now
right?
Grandpa knows.
He's
Grandpa,
private, right?
Grandpa's probably gonna call you in about 30 seconds.
How do I do this?
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. Mike Campanaro the other day is, did you see what I sent you through Instagram? I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't I see it?
He's
He goes,
talking
'Cause
a
you
big
don't
game.
follow me. I'm like, oh, I followed him.
That was his way of getting you to follow him.
That was smart. Maybe Dua Lipa thinks the same thing. She just doesn't know.
Wait, so now I want to get into, you guys told us on your show. I want you guys to bring it up on our show.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about your Italian roots, your Italian upbringing, and that whole shebang.
All right.
So
Do you know anything about
take it
your Italian?
away.
So I'll tell you. Obviously, so my parents are born in America. My father, his parents, both born in Italy. My mother, her father was born in Italy. So the roots are there, right? Northern part of Italy and the southern part of Italy. Northern part being Providence of Parma, a small little village town called Borgo del Taro, which I had the pleasure of stumbling onto. And this is another good story. I won't take you all the way through it, but the short of it is I went to Italy. I was on a mission. Now this is 2012, maybe even earlier, but there was no phone,
Ancestry.
there was no intranet where you just went in and you found everything you needed. This was literally from the hotel house phone on the website, pulling up the last name Granelli, which was my grandmother's maiden name, and trying to find the town. And I had then the concierge at the hotel make all these phone calls to all the Granellis in the Tuscan region. And literally it was 2 pages. And he called. And it's this house phone stuff. This is house phone. Short along as he's getting to the second page. He's like, Senor, there's a couple left. I go, just do me a favor. Just finish it. You're this close. He hits on the last name on That's 2 crazy. Pages. He hits. It turns out to be my father's cousin who answers the phone, who then speaks Italian, and they both connect, and they basically say, okay, come to the deli tomorrow, 2 p.m. Now, I'm in Tuscany. I'm in a hotel. This is, a 3-hour trek from where we are to where we got to go. But we're like, all right, well, we're going to make our way to Milan, or we're going to go north and whatever. We go, we find them, and it literally, when I tell you, it's amazing if you have family in another country and that you have an opportunity to either A, connect with them, or B, then see where they really are, to live a little bit of their life. But I felt like I was thrown back in time, because I was there where my grandmother was, and I was there where the traditions started, and I could connect the stories that she would tell about working on a farm and eating peasant food, and again, all those dots started to get connected real quick when you put yourself back into what your family legacy is. And in the Italian heritage, like you guys know, the food leads the way, right? And so you don't have to speak the language, but if you know one thing about being Italian, you appreciate food. Most times you know how to make something, right? And it comes from a parent or a grandparent that taught you, right? So that's I guess the basis from where I guess our family comes from in Italy. And to this day, my dad's 93 years old and still, doing his thing, which is breaking chops and being a dad and a grandfather. But I was just actually looking yesterday with my dad to find his parents' birth certificates, because as you guys know now, right, you can get dual citizenship.
Yeah.
Evidently, one of the ways to get it is you need to have the birth certificate of someone that was born there. So that's a little challenging to find those birth certificates.
What about his sisters?
His sisters have passed away. His sisters were born in Italy. Yeah, they were born in Italy. He was the youngest of the.
So when you met, he's a cousin of yours? Like
he's my
cousin?
father's. He was my father's
so
first cousin.
Second cousin or something.
Yeah,
like that?
he would be a second cousin.
So what happened?
Well, he didn't speak a lick of English. I didn't speak a lick of Italian. A few little small things here and there, but it was like you knew. I picked him out from the room and said, "That's got to be him.
Yeah,
it looks like us." And
cool.
and so with that experience came a guy who was nice enough to stick around and translate for us.
Right.
And it was a great time. He invited us to stay over, which we were traveling Italy. At that point we had other plans. We had to be places and do things. And that was cool. It was probably just enough right amount of timing that went into that. You couldn't plan it. It's like saying, I said this, it's like if we were right here now and said, let's go to Maryland. Let's drive 4 hours. Let's go find somebody who says they're going to be somewhere at 2:00. What are the chances that everything comes together? Yeah. So that was meant to be. And that was the coolest trip to Italy that I had. I've been back several times.
And when your family moved from Italy, they moved to Newark?
To New York, Manhattan.
Oh, they were in Manhattan first.
56th Street. Yeah, my dad grew up in the city, real city kid.
And when did they make the move to Jersey?
When my dad moved to Jersey when he met my mom. They were working at American Airlines together. My dad went in the service. Then he went immediately after the service. He went and worked for American Airlines, and he stayed there for 35 years. But that was the impetus to get out of the city, was to go raise a family and come into Jersey, which, interestingly enough, they moved to my mom's childhood home. So I grew up in the house that my mom grew up in.
That's cool. It's crazy.
And my dad, we just sold that house. Yeah, we just sold that house maybe 6 years ago. But that had been in our family since it was built in the early 1940s.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Deep Italian roots, man.
Yeah.
Do you feel like people ever say that you guys aren't Italian?
We're American.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm American.
Yeah, I know. Well, so people, I am American. I am square, solid, proud to be American, but American with a heavy appreciation for the Italian heritage. And so, yeah, my ethnicity is Italian, right? And I conversations like this, you guys get it. Do I have to be the stereotypical, hey, yo, hey, oh, yeah. Listen, I had the sweatsuits. I grew up with the sweatsuits, wearing sweatsuits.
You got the taquinis somewhere?
Sergio Tacchini. I had all that stuff. I had all that stuff. And I had the gold chains. And I had the shoelace around, you know, my head growing up. I had the white Capizios. And I went to college. My college friends were like, don't you own a pair of jeans other than Jordache? Like what? like Levi's. I'm like, no. I didn't own sneakers.
Scarpells only.
I wore patent leather pointy shoes and white Capizios for the most part. I had gym sneakers. Never wore them outside of gym. And I played football. I played baseball. You know, I was basketball. I was an athlete. And when I went to college to play baseball, my roommates were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go out." And I put Jordache on and my Capizios, and I had a Shams shirt, fishnet shirt. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean we're doing? We're going out. And that was not the look. That was my look in the 80s. But they were like, you got to get a pair of sneakers. So anyway, that's the again, when I say the stereotypical Italian, today it seems like everybody wants to identify with something or someone, a group. And being Italian's a little easier, I think, right? We're comfortable with one another. We don't mind putting it out there. You know, we're proud of the heritage of it. And I think that, but there are those, like in any ethnic group, those who go overboard and they start to play on it and disrespect it. Like, let's not glorify the mob, okay? They're not nice people, okay? Yes, they're cool in the movies, but you're not going to hang around with those guys. And if you want to, well, then that's a lifestyle that you may at some point wish you could do over. And I know a lot of guys growing up that decide they wanted to be like that, and they're still somewhat involved as much as or as little as there really is today in today's world. But they play on that a little bit too much, you know? So that's the part that I kind of, when it was time to grow up American Italian and grow up with an Italian background, I needed to tone it down. So if you ask me when I started working in the professional business world, I wouldn't wear black. I wouldn't wear blue. I wouldn't do anything that would give the indication. And when I had hair, now I had hair, I blew it back, right? I blew back my hair. I wear a suit. I went earth tones. I went with the browns. I went with, the navy. I softened it. I did sport coats because I wore the gold, the gold watch and the gold and the pinky ring. I still had my bracelets, but even that started to like, well, I should probably tone that down, right? Because people are going to, whether you like it or not, they're going to evaluate you, what you look like until you open your mouth. And hopefully the two match. Hopefully you're a well-presented young man or young woman, and then when you open your mouth, it matches and you're not some, trash mouth. Even the person who's dressed the best and then opens their mouth and just sounds like a dope, you don't even, you don't respect that, right? Right. So, but anyway, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
No, that's
you said you don't like doing podcasts, right?
Yeah, right?
No,
just give him his own.
You're great.
Maybe what do you guys think about this? I'm going to float this idea past you. It's called Johnny Thinks. It's me.
There you go.
And I do.
Yeah, he just talks.
That's a great segment.
Drew, you want to produce this? You come to Jersey. Johnny Thinks.
I'll just be like, all right, yeah, I clicked record, go.
Yeah. No,
it's all yours.
That's it. Leave me alone.
It's all yours. Well, I got to go back to you now. People are probably looking at you like, this guy's got the cauliflower ears,
Yeah.
What are you doing that's not podcasting
to get these gnarly looking ears? Well, it's funny. So I wrestled in high school, wrestled in college a little bit, and I've been training jiu-jitsu for a while now. But these are recent. Like I got them. The problem with these cauliflower ears is two things. If you have bigger ears that flare out, you're more supple. Like I have buddies that train more than I do, and their ears are pinned back. You don't even notice, or they're little. But what happened was mine blew up pretty crazy, and once it blows up, there's no getting back unless you stop training. I've drained this ear like 100 times. Stick a needle in it, you suck it out, there's a bunch of blood or like pus and whatever. It looks nasty, feels terrible.
That's from fighting, right?
It's from grappling. So like I'm on the ground, and again I have bigger ears, so when they rub against the floor or against somebody else, it just blows up on it. But Yeah, these
They
are,
don't look so bad, by the way.
Oh,
That was
thank
just
you.
I knew
No,
that.
but they do. When I had them, like they'll blow up like this, and they get like this,
yeah.
and then you look like an idiot. You know what I mean? Unless like what I say is, unless I was doing it, you know, for my profession, like I was in the UFC, that's different. But for me, like I do, it is part of my life, so I don't mind having them.
Right.
And then it's like kind of like being Italian. When you walk into a bar and somebody else has cauliflower here,
Right.
you're like, oh, where do you wrestle? Or like, what do you do? And then you have a conversation off the bat. So I don't mind having them. But yeah, I've been training for a pretty long time now.
Yeah, no, you're rock solid. Like I
Thank
told
you,
you
bro.
before the pod, those traps are definitely trapping.
Well, listen, bro. I do. I keep my priorities in line. I podcast. I make TikToks with my dad, and I like to train. So
That's it.
That's pretty much it.
I love it. But you said American, obviously.
Yeah.
Give me your mentality now. We heard Dad's side. I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I just want to hear it from your mouth.
Yeah. Well, first off, and again, I've only been to Italy once, but if you looked at like the Italians right now, when you think of Italian in your head and you picture, you know, the velour suits and the AEOs, like that's not Italy. Like you go to Italy, they're dressed super well,
so sharp,
European, and their haircuts are beautiful. Like every hairdresser here, they look at what Italy's doing to find out what's going to happen over here in like the next 5 years. Like Italy is like this, or like Europe is the staple. So when I hear that, like that's just like New Jersey, New York style and fashion, and I can appreciate it. I think it's pretty funny, but people that kind of go overboard, it's like, who are you trying to be? Especially if you didn't grow up like you guys grew up like this. People that grew up in the Bronx, you guys have a personality and a character to you that is unlike anything else. This is a literal zoo compared to like the rest of it, and it's so fun to watch because you guys are just like big personalities. So if you're from here, you grew up doing that stuff. That's how you spoke. That's how you dressed. I love it. That's who you are. If you're from Jersey and from Passaic County and you grew up and now at 18 years old, you start changing up your look and you put the sunglasses on and you're doing this with your hands, you're trying to be something you're not. That's not how you grew up. You watched Sopranos for a couple of years and now you're going to change your whole demeanor to a I don't want to say worse demeanor, but it just doesn't align with who you are. It seems very inauthentic.
Yeah. So you're just not being yourself.
It's a little fake, but yeah.
But you could
So
tell
if you're from
somebody
the
else.
same
was
county, you
fake.
can't be Italian.
You could be Italian. You don't have to be. Yeah, you don't.
That's
have
what
to
I
be,
got from that. So
what's the-
is that a specific person you're thinking of?
There's people that I grew up with that like now you see them try to switch up because they lived where we are. Now they're in Hudson County because we live in Jersey City, Hoboken area. And like cut it with the accent, bro. I haven't heard you talk like that ever. And now now you talk like this, bro.
I gotta ask you, being that you're from Jersey, where like give me like the Jersey towns that are the most Italian American.
So if you're looking for like that thick accent, it's
Essex
Hudson,
County.
it's Hudson, Essex, and a little Passaic has it too. Like if you go
it's
anything
listen,
closer to the Hudson,
it's Essex County.
Essex County is probably the
all
pinnacle.
day
Yeah,
long.
they are.
Why is that?
They're just characters.
Because
bro.
Newark,
Yeah.
because Newark, Belleville,
Yeah.
Bloomfield,
Those guys are great.
Bloomfield. Listen, you talk about, I just answered this question. It's Essex County, and from there it branches
question to
off.
me, but
It
yeah.
branches off into Bergen and Hudson, and yeah, maybe some of Passaic, but Essex County owns it all day long.
Yeah.
It's just Belleville, Bloomfield, Newark.
Yeah.
Locked down. And if you were my age, and they used to have a park called Brookdale Park. Brookdale Park was one pretty big oval. You, like routine, you clean your car, armor all the tires, get it tight, get it right, and all we did, is drive around and want to be seen.
You would love my Uncle Steve. Like that would be a guy that from
Yeah.
Essex County is like.
Yeah, you should get him on
should
your
have him on the
podcast.
pod.
He would. I'd come back with him. I'll tell you
Send
what.
it to our agent.
Okay, good.
You like that?
All right.
Get Uncle Steve.
I have two
That's
last
good.
questions. This is like one that I think a lot of people want to hear this and deserve to hear it. But could you give us a checklist of what someone needs to start a podcast, or before starting a podcast? This is what you should review, like from your standpoint.
Okay, I have my thoughts. I'm going to let you.
Go ahead.
No, I want you
go
to go
first.
first. Well, so to me, there's logistics, right? The one
I'm
thing.
curious- I'm actually curious
Here's
what
the checklist. It starts with logistics. Are you going to buy all this equipment and build it your own, or are you going to hire someone like Drew who has equipment and you're going to compensate and just say you take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So you need to understand first how you're going to carve this model out. Is it yours, you and a mic or are you going to get a producer who's all geared up, sound guy, right? Those
Put a
technical
budget
things.
together.
Absolutely. There's a big difference, and I think he would admit today that 3 years. How many years you been doing podcasts? 2?
A year.
No. Well, no. When we were doing them
Like
in the
Blase
back,
doing them.
Yeah, I think that kind of counts.
We
That
tried.
counts.
Well, that's actually a good point because we tried it. We weren't all the way in, so like
Right.
we would do one. But go ahead.
Right, no, because then when we first did it in my basement or outside on the lawn, John bought the mics, John bought the lights, John bought the things that block the shade screens to block the light, to make all this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you buying all this stuff for? The camera. Like, there's people that probably own this stuff already that you can hire. See, in my mind, that's how you would account for the business model, all right? And today, you own some of the equipment, but you also have hired people who have the equipment and have some experience. And so, to me, simply figure out what your means are and reverse engineer it. You're not going to make money having a podcast. You need to go into it knowing you're not. And if
You can say that again.
yeah, and if you start,
You know what's so funny is when I asked the question, I thought subject matter. Like you were going to tell me. Because you were talking about real estate stuff.
Oh, no.
Like,
No.
okay, so, but that's good. Number one, budget. Any other
well, I
any
think,
other pointers?
well, so I think you have to ask yourself why you're doing it. Because if you're going to try and open up a sandwich store because you want to make money, or you're going to have a podcast because you want to make money, or you're going to try to do anything with the I want to make money and this is how I'm going to make money, that's the wrong place to start. You want to have a podcast because you want to have fun, you want to be informative, insightful, and hopefully bring something out there of value that others can appreciate and build a following. And with that, monetize it somewhere, right? You open up a deli. Why? Well, because, I need to make money. I make a living, but you're not doing it to become independently wealthy, right? You're going to do it because I like cooking. I want to share my best prosciutto fig spread sandwich or my chicken cutlet fresh milk. These are the two iconic sandwiches. When you come down this road in Brooklyn, you want to make sure that people know about it. There's pride there, right? All the other things money's a byproduct of that success. So, again, build it out, reverse engineer it, understand what your budget is, and then you can get into the finer details of, well, who are we talking to? What are we talking about, right? And how relevant is it going to be, and what's the shelf life of it?
You want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, first things foremost, like everything you do, if money is like, okay, I want to make money, how do I go about doing that? Podcast is not. Number one, is very hard to do, but it's going to take you, it could take you, I'm not saying it's going to, years to even have a viral video. And then keeping virality with podcasting is very different than short form content. You can go viral on short form, and now you're a face on one of these apps, and the app rewards you for that, and now your next video goes viral, and you keep up with it, and you're consistent, you grew a page, now you grew a brand deals are coming your way. Like, that could be a business much quicker than a podcast, where you guys probably know it too. You could have one blow up podcast. You got 1 million views on one episode. If your next week episode sucks, your thumbnail's not there, your title's not enticing enough, nobody's clicking on that video. It doesn't matter how well your last video did. So I think it's very much keeping up with who you are as a podcaster. But at the end of the day, I love podcasting because I love having great conversation, and I love getting better at having great conversation. So I think it's a tool for me to meet great people, network, and introduce myself to opportunities that I would have never gotten. And then along the way, there is going to be a point in time where this thing does blow up, and I'm at a place where it could be a full-time job. Because if you look at everything you do as a creator, as you are just a vessel for these brands to get eyeballs on their brand, right? That's pretty basic terms of what you're doing, why you're making money, why brands are paying you versus paying for a commercial. Watch time on a video for a podcast could be 100x what it is on a TikTok. So the value you could provide, or even like a streamer, is so much greater than the short form people, which is why it's so much harder to build. But it's there, dude. Like, if you love having conversation and you learn over time how to go and do it, podcasts can be super successful. And it's fun. You gotta like, I think the first thing is watch podcasts. Do you enjoy listening to podcasts? That's number one. Number two, go be on a podcast. Go have a fake podcast with your friends. See how you do. Because every guy in the world has said once in their life, man, we're funny. We should start a podcast.
Bro,
okay,
let's start a podcast.
Go put a mic in your face and then go have a conversation. See how well it does. How well can you keep a conversation, but keep it entertaining, pivot questions when you need to pivot questions, have enticing questions in your pocket just in case things get dull. Having a podcast is not just shooting the shit with your boys for 3 hours and expecting people to listen. Because guess what? Most people have their own boys. They don't want to listen to you guys speak.
They don't want to listen
unless
to
you
your
now
stories.
right. Unless you guys are at the pinnacle and you're so funny for whatever reason people want to watch your stuff. So I think it takes a really long time, but there's gonna be a point in time where it's all worth it.
You might have just touched on something. So Rocco, when someone comes up and says they want you to have them on your podcast, you should say, send me an audition tape. I mean, send me a 1 minute video. Let's see
Honestly,
what you got.
it sounds pretentious,
It's
but
fun.
that would
Let's
be,
see
it
what
would
you
be a
got.
bad
We
idea.
did that one time, and I got stalked for months.
Oh,
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
what do you mean?
I'm not gonna get into it so much.
Oh,
Listen, thank you guys for coming today, and I mean, this episode went great. Is there anything else you guys want to plug in?
At John Rondi on On the Rocks podcast is the podcast on YouTube.
Johnny Drinks,
Well, it's, yeah, either at John
Powered
Rondi or
by.
Johnny Drinks.
Johnny
Powered by.
Thinks,
Or
coming
Johnny
soon.
Thinks.
Johnny
maybe coming
thinks. I don't know.
soon.
You guys tell me. Just give
We
it
might have to
DM.
add like 2 underscores or something to get it.
Yeah.
but-
Type in Johnny Drinks or John Rondi on all social. You'll find this.
Oh, by the way,
I was gonna say. I thought you got a gift.
This right here is Drink That. It's a sponsor for our show, and I didn't even give anybody a bottle because I don't have many. But
let me see.
you're Johnny Drinks. I got to give you one.
It's
So how about we-
delicious.
how about
All
we
you
go-
gotta do is
Let's open it up.
We taste
Yeah,
it?
let's
Is
do
it
it. Let's
over?
do it. No, we
Is
can
the
do
show
it.
over?
I actually have a
Shaker.
yeah. Let's do it.